Just wanted to do a quick review of my Motobecane Fantom DS 27 and a half tire size mountain bike. I got this bike about 2.5 years ago and hadn't ridden it much, but until recently. Uh, I used to play a lot of soccer until I got injured and tore my meniscus on my left knee, and I couldn't do that anymore, so I just started riding my bike. Initially, I got this bike because I wanted a mountain bike to so I could ride with my son. That's my son's bike back there. Um, but when I started riding it, I didn't like a few things. I bought the most inexpensive model, which was I think it was $699, but it came with a lot of inexpensive components as well. Um, so I've changed a lot of things actually. I didn't like the handlebar that it came with. The original handlebar was too short. It was, I believe, 720 millimeters. I changed to this carbon fiber 760 millimeters, and it also came with a very cheap shock, Centaur XCM30, I think it was, non-air, very heavy. So I changed it to this air shock. It's from Manitou. I think they're out of Colorado. It's the Machete model. It's got a bottom rebound control and lockout the Schrader valve on the other side there. One interesting design aspect of this shock is that it has a reversed arch. Most shocks have the arch on this side. I read on their website that they did this to help prevent a lot of dirt and mud, whatever, hitting the back of the shock and then contaminating the rings. So it keeps it cleaner, which it seems to do that. I actually like the routing of the brake cable. It's actually attached to the back, where typically you'll have it in front, but it goes directly to the brake. So I like that setup. The frame is a hydroform aluminum frame. It's a tapered steer. I don't know if you can really see it from there, but it is tapered. I got a 1.8, 1 1/8 inch at the top and 1.5 at the bottom, tapered, shock steer. Moving towards the back, it came with a coil spring rear shock absorber. Didn't like it, and I changed it to this off-brand D&M shock. It has a front positive chamber and a rear negative chamber. It works. By the way, the front shock is only 100 millimeters in travel, but and the rear one is 51, but I don't really need more than that. Where I ride or trails or the terrain is pretty flat, not much elevation change. It's rocky or hard pack clay soil, so it's really hard when it dries up, and if it rains, the mud is very sticky. But there's a dry creek, there's some hills, some climbing, but I really don't need more travel than that. Also, it came with the original with WTB rims and tires. The rims were tubeless ready, but they didn't feel steady or secure. Didn't inspire confident riding. They felt wobbly as you go down, twisty, rocky roads, a little bit downhill. The wheels were just they felt like they were all over the place. Sometimes it felt the wheels were going in different directions of the bike. So anyway, I changed it. I changed the front rim to this Easton Heist 24. It's a lot stiffer. It comes with it's a non-boost, so 100 millimeter width, and but it's a 15 millimeter through axle. But I have quick release 9 millimeter, so I bought an adapter and it works fine. Also, the tires I changed to these Continental Cross King. They're best all rounders, and it's again it's pretty dry where most of the year where I live. We've had some rains recently, and they'll do fine in damp soil, hard pack, rocky. Get a lot of roots, and I really like the tires. They handle all that well. They don't do well in deep mud. So if I lived maybe in the Pacific Northwest, I would buy a different model, but these Continental tubeless are pretty good. Changed seat post from the aluminum to fiber, carbon fiber post. One big change I made was the drivetrain. It came with this 3x8 setup, SRAM Shimano components. I switched to this 1x12 SRAM NX Eagle NX. Got a new bottom bracket, a SRAM dub, no front derailleur now, of course. So it made it a lot lighter. This shifting is really smooth. I only have one shifter to worry about, or before I had two. Also changed the pedals. The original pedals were these metal, I think they're called bear claws. They didn't work very well. I changed to these pedals. I think I got them on Amazon for about $25. They have these essentially screws that are like cleats, but they provide a lot of grip, and they work really well. The frame is a single pivot design. It works well. The frame feels very sturdy. There are no funny sounds, squeaking or no cracks. It just feels very solid. It works. Good welds, strong welds. I don't know if you can see that. I put about probably between 500 to 600 miles on this bike, and now that I've changed all these components, I'm pretty happy with it. It came with Textro hydraulic brakes, and that's one thing I did like. Never had hydraulic brakes, and these are the first ones. You can't see this too dark, but it's 180 millimeter rotors in the back and in the front. There's their Textro Draco. They do the job. I did change the pads from the metallic pads that it came with to semi-metallic, so it's ceramic / metallic. They're a lot quieter than the metal. Metal ones probably provide a little bit more bite when you brake, but these aren't bad. I hardly notice a difference in braking power. They stop on a dime and they're quiet. The metallic ones seem to squeal a little bit, when you get dust and dirt and something in there. But anyway, like I said, this was about the entry model, and I didn't really know what I wanted. This bike is more of a cross-country setup, not really a trail bike, much less anything, resembling an enduro. You would have to have a lot, much more travel and just the frame. It's really more of a cross-country, but it handles, rocky areas, some downhills, not very steep, but short, downhills, rocky, a lot of tree roots. It goes. I'm pretty happy with the performance of it. Um, no complaints, especially now with all the changes I made. I reduced the weight by quite a bit. When I first got it, that was a thing that I noticed. It's super heavy. I actually weighed it, and it was came in at close to, I believe, it was close to 38 pounds. With all these changes that I've made, now the bike is weighing just a tad under 30 pounds, so reduced it by about 8 pounds. So anyway, yeah, it's a good entry bike. I think, I was looking at some entry level bikes from the big brand names like Giant, Trek, uh, uh, you name it. There's just um, just a big brand names, and I was looking at always pretty much something north of 2,000. So this is if you're frugal and you're kind of handy, you don't mind upgrading. I mean, the upgrades were easy, straightforward. There's a lot of instructional videos online, so it wasn't very hard to upgrade all this stuff. Um, I think the original price was $699, and then I probably put like 700. No, about $900. Uh, Probably so. So I'm in for about 1,600, maybe 1,700. But I'm pretty happy with with the way it's set up now. Um, Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. I'll attach maybe a short video after this of the writing that I do. And um, Anyway, this is my review of my Motobecane Fantom DS 27 and a half.